Hi everyone, my name is Lara from LK Yoga, and today I'm going to talk you through some of the placement lines on the Virasana mat. So the first ones to sort of point out is the centre line that runs down the middle, and then where I'm sitting, which is the centre point, which is our logo. And then from here we have two sort of front placement markers, which are often for the hands, but it does depend what position you're in. If you're in Warrior 1 and you've stepped the foot back, then you're going to be having the front foot using this. Whereas if you're in Downward Facing Dog and the hands are placed out, then the hands are going to be in line with the top placement line. So it obviously depends what pose you're in. We have an outer placement mark and an inner placement mark for both the front and the back of the mat. And these are the way you use these completely depends on how tall you are, how flexible you are. There is no right sort of hand or foot distance on the mat, because obviously I'm 5'4". If you're 6'2", then you're going to be a lot wider for your placements than me on the mat. So what they are is a reference point for you. So if you watch any of our tutorial videos, I will always refer to the placement markers, and then you can find your correct distance for them. So every time you come into the pose that you're doing, you can sort of have a rough idea of where you are, and without a mirror get an idea of what your form might look like. And then from here we've got 45-degree lines, and so these can be used for poses such as Warrior 1. So as you step back, the back foot wants to be sort of roughly in line with the 45-degree marker line. Or if you're coming into a yogi squat, Malasana pose, then I tend to use these placement lines too. I generally twist round and use these rather than being at the top of my mat. If you're at the top of your mat, then obviously your feet can sometimes come very slightly off when you come into Malasana, your yogi squat. And then we've also got our four sort of symmetry placement points here, which you can use for poses such as bridge, centering off the feet or the hands, but generally I use them slightly less in class. They can be useful, but with poses like that I tend to like to use body cues. For example, if you're coming into bridge, then I would say, rather than necessarily worrying about where your feet are relative to the mat, worrying about where they are relative to your body. So I'd say for bridge to be about hand and wrist distance away with fingers extended from the bum, if I'm coming up into bridge, roughly. So that just means that I'm nice and grounded through the heels. I've not got my feet too far away or too close in that it's going to be difficult to press up into the pose. So hopefully that's been helpful. It's just a very, very quick insight to give you some idea of why it's useful to have them on your mat. Another example, Warrior 2, we want the heel of the back foot to be in line with the centre of the we want the heel of the front foot to be in line with the centre of the arch on the back foot. And the centre line is really, really helpful for this. If I come into Warrior 2 really, really quickly, then what I can see immediately from having my centre line placement, so there's my Warrior 2, and what I can see is that my heel is on the centre line and the centre of the arch of the back foot is on the centre line. So it's really, really handy to have that cue. As a yoga teacher, I can tell you that often I will see people where their foot is slightly off to the side. So when I teach with these mats, I can just be like, just check where you are relative to the placement line. Obviously, the most important thing about your yoga practice is that you enjoy it. As long as you've got reasonable sort of form, you're probably going to be absolutely fine. Everybody is completely different, so I don't like to give cues that are too prescriptive, because everybody's body's different. Some people are tighter than others, some are taller than others, some have had car accidents, various injuries, so you need to listen to your own body. But what these lines can help you do is find your own reference points, so as you come into a pose, you know roughly where you are on the mat without using a mirror. So it can be really, really helpful. And they really help as a teacher as well, because it means that I can tell people, like, when you're in this pose, does it feel good? Particularly when we're quite warm into it, just look at where your hands and feet are now. And also when you start right at the beginning of class and you're maybe not quite as warm, you might not be in quite the same hand-feet position as you are later in class. So just being aware of where you are on your mat, just as this sort of reference point. So hopefully that's been helpful for you. Please do put me a message if you have any more questions. I can give you a whole list of poses. So just let me know if there's a pose in particular where you want to know where should I be roughly on the mat, and I can more than happy to talk you through that. You can get in contact with me by reaching out on YouTube, Facebook, our website, there's an email address, and Instagram. Just say, hey Lara, and I should receive the message, it should float on over to me. So I hope you have a great day, and I hopefully hear from you all soon. Namaste.